This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
Jayalalitha ends the speculation of a Congress alliance, says she never mentioned it ever.
I had never said that there is an alliance between the All India NDTV and the Congress.
Freebies will not turn into votes, says the Queen Bee. The AIADMK chief says she's determined to put an end to the DMK regime with her own tactics. Deputy Chief Minister Stalin goes all out to defend the 2G auction proceedings and reinterprets the term laws.
இந்த தொகையை குறிப்பிட்டு சொல்லுகிற போது ஏதேனும் ஆதாரத்தோடு குறிப்பிட்டிருக்கிறார் என்று கேட்டால் கிடையாது.
If it was on the CAG's documents, it's now out on the streets of Kumbakonam. The 2G spectrum and the big loot is showcased in an art attack. The suitcase murders are back in the state. A woman's head and a child's body are found in a trunk at Villipuram. It's a shelter for those dreaming of the wild, wild west. Visa worries can now continue under a canopy. And to meet a man who's earned his spot in the league of the extraordinary gentlemen, we introduce you to the surgeon on wheels. Welcome to News Tonight with me, Evelyn Matthew. A look at the national headlines before we get into those stories in detail. Changes in key eco-ministries. Jayapal is moved to the oil ministry, Kamal Nath to the urban development and Praful to heavy industries. Sibal retains two key ministries, the HRD and the telecom, but MS Gill isn't as lucky. He's shunted to statistics and program implementation. But the Prime Minister, Dr. Singh, says there will be bigger changes after the budget, calls the rejig just a minor shuffle. There are hardly any nucleids on the block. Youngest entrant is 47-year-old KC Venugopal in the Power Ministry. Well, the former Chief Minister Jayalalitha is out to colour the city green, the colour of her party. Presiding at her party headquarters today, the AIADMK chief said that she never said there would be an alliance with the Congress party, despite having offered an olive branch earlier this year. This comes on the back of around 7,000 people joining the party at its headquarters in Roypeta today. First up, here's what Amma said on the alliance with the Congress, rather the lack of it.
I had never said that there is an alliance between the All India NDTV and the Congress.
Well, if she wasn't refuting alliance claims, she was evading questions clearly. Here's Jayalalitha's no comments on an alliance with Vijayakant's DMDK.
DMDK leader Vijayakant has made it clear that he would work towards keeping DMK away from power. Has he approached you at all for any sort of talks?
I can't answer such questions at the moment.
Well, the AIADMK's General Secretary did sport a constant smile throughout that press conference and also said that the DMK cannot bank on being voted back to power merely on the strength of its welfare schemes, striking specifically at the freebie campaign.
I will only say that no matter what kind of freebies have been given and no matter what kind of freebies are going to be announced by the DMK in future, all that will not work.
And our senior correspondent Peer Muhammad now joins us live from the headquarters in Roypeta. Peer, looks like the AIADMK has clearly snubbed the Congress and that Amma has a lot on her plate ahead of the polls. What do you make of her address today?
It looks like the AIADMK Supremo Jayalalitha has now made up her mind very clear that the Congress will not be joining her alliance for the upcoming assembly elections. She has made a very strong statement against the union government on the 2G scam issue. She said the Kapil Sibal stand on CAG report is anti-constitutional and contempt of court. She referred to the Supreme Court's comments on the 2G scam issue based on CAG report and said if Kapil Sibal is making a statement against CAG report which is taken as the basis for the Supreme Court's comments on the 2G scam issue, it is clearly anti-constitutional and contempt of court. Also, her refusal to comment on the ongoing talks with the DMDK is a clear indication that there is not much progress in the ADMK's talks with the DMDK. With the Congress alliance being ruled out for the ADMK, the other hope which is remaining is the DMDK. And political analysts have been, including Cho Ramasamy, have been saying that ADMK and the DMDK should come together for the upcoming assembly elections. Now that there is not much progress, indicates that the DMDK wants more number of seats than what the ADMK is willing to offer. Also, the ADMK seems to be changing its game plan for the assembly elections, bringing in more people from the DMK and other parties ahead of the assembly elections. This show of strength at the party headquarters today is going to continue ahead of the assembly elections. Today, more than 7,000 people have joined the ADMK, most of them from the western districts, and particularly from a lot of people from the DMK have joined the ADMK. And again on Sunday, in the presence of ADMK Supremo Jayalalitha, another 7,000 and more people are going to join the ADMK. This is going to be the game plan of the ADMK to boost the morale of the party cadre ahead of the assembly elections.
Right, thanks very much indeed, Pete, for joining us with those details. So clearly, that's going to be a game changer and a lot of plans on the AIADMK's mind. Meanwhile, in the ruling party's camp, MK Stalin has justified the 2G spectrum auction in a public meeting in Namakkal district last evening, saying that it was not a loss-making scandal. The Deputy Chief Minister reasoned that when a scheme is introduced by a state or a central government, the low prices were quite expected.
2G ஸ்பெக்ட்ரம் என்கிற அந்த விவகாரத்தை பொறுத்த வரையில மத்திய அரசினுடைய அந்த தணிக்கை செய்திருக்கக்கூடிய அதிகாரி சொல்லி இருக்கக்கூடிய செய்தி என்ன? 1,76,000 கோடி ரூபாய் இழப்பு என்று அந்த தணிக்கை அதிகாரி தன்னுடைய அறிக்கையில குறிப்பிட்டிருக்கிறார். ஆக இந்த தொகையை குறிப்பிட்டு சொல்லுகிற போது ஏதேனும் ஆதாரத்தோடு குறிப்பிட்டிருக்கிறார் என்று கேட்டால் கிடையாது. ஒரு அனுமானத்தின் அடிப்படையில் 1,76,000 கோடி ரூபாய் இழப்பு என்று ஒரு அனுமானத்தின் அடிப்படையில் இதை சொல்லி இருக்கிறார் என்று நமக்கு மிக தெளிவாக புரிகிறது. இன்றைக்கு அந்த துறையுடைய அமைச்சராக பொறுப்பேற்றிருக்கக்கூடிய மாண்புமிகு கபில் சிபில் அவர்கள் இதைத்தான் தொடர்ந்து வலியுறுத்தி வற்புறுத்தி சுட்டி காட்டுகிறாரா இல்லையா? அது மத்திய அரசாங்கமாக இருந்தாலும் சரி, மாநில அரசாங்கமாக இருந்தாலும் சரி, ஒரு திட்டத்தை நிறைவேற்றுகிற போது அது மக்களுக்கு எந்த அளவிற்கு லாபம் கிடைக்கிறது, அரசுக்கு என்ன லாபம் கிடைக்கிறது என்று கணக்கு பார்க்க கூடாது. அப்படி பார்த்தால் இன்றைக்கு நம்முடைய தமிழ்நாட்டிலே அன்றாடம் பயன்படுத்தக்கூடிய போக்குவரத்து கழகங்கள் தமிழ்நாட்டிலே செயல்படுத்தவே முடியாது.
Well, still ahead on the news tonight, a huge rejig, but what's the theme of this major change? More on Manmohan Singh's musical chairs up on the other side.